It's always been a boundary issue between the three communities. The lands belong to us, and it's already stated here. We've been to court about it.
This is the first time that the two communities will conspire and fight the local community.
Ọ̀nà báyìí wọ́n wá wọ́n ní sọ́ọ̀tì kan wà níbí yìí tó líkì sí Ifon tó dé pé ọ̀nà ẹsẹ̀ ni òní wọ́n gbà wá tí wọ́n fi wá nínú ìṣe.
Osun State, located in the southwestern part of Nigeria, is a land of contrasts. With a population ranking 25th in the country and a landmass of over 20,000 square kilometers, it may not be the largest state, but it's large enough to harbor decades-old territorial disputes. It's largely peaceful here. Everything seems slow-paced. The residents move at their own speed, like they have more time in the day than the rest of the world. Just by watching the residents of Osogbo, the state capital, you would never guess there is a deadly boundary dispute happening just less than... Let's take a step backward to previous attacks. We begin with the development in Osun State, where Governor Ademola Adeleke has declared a 24-hour curfew in Ifon and Ilobu communities after natives raised concerns over what they described as renewed attacks allegedly from the Ifon. The curfew was announced in a statement by Commissioner for Information and Public Engagement, Kolapo Alimi.
Around February 14 or 15, we just discovered that some of our farmers were going to their farm, and early in the morning, they discovered that the road that leads to their farm were already blocked. They pile up some trees, so many rumbles to prevent them from gaining entrance into the farm. Before they know it, bulldozer was working, and they were removing palm trees, kola nuts trees, cocoa trees, cashew trees. All the economic trees were being removed by Ilobu. Who could do this? So we reported to the police. Police says they cannot. It is not their duty to come into the land matters. Okay, we reported to the government. The government said that was when the committee was already sitting. The government said that they will send the securities operatives to come and check the place. We reported to the committee. Committee says that we should be patient and allow them to do their job. So I have to call my people to exercise patience. A lot of people, families, source of livelihood were demolished, were destroyed. They burned down their trees, they burned down their farms, they removed them, and the next thing we see after 1 week was that Ilobu started selling the land. And as if that was not enough, he brought a signpost and put it Oba Ashiru Olaniyan Housing Estate. People's farm. So they continue selling, and people that bought the land from them started construction. They started building their houses, fencing and putting some shops in front. When they finished selling, they exhausted the land. They now enter another land again, another compound's land again. They started pulling down, pulling down the palm trees and renaming the place. The place initially was Bere Odofin. They now rename it as Bere Onireke, and people should come and buy land. That was when we now said, this one we cannot wait again. When we got to the deputy governor's office, he advised us. He told us that everybody should stop doing anything until what the committee determines, that we should allow peace to reign. That was just all we took from there. As we reached house, we got home. Everybody went to sleep. Around 11, we just started hearing gunshots. They were pursuing people. They were shooting at them. They were burning houses. And I look outside. I look afar. I saw houses on fire. That was when I knew that there is a problem. That was what started all this wahala. So we have to call our own vigilantes too, to go and repel them from coming into the town. So we now stop them from coming. So when they now saw that no, it wasn't attack. We didn't attack. You know, you attack when you are prepared for something. It was unprepared matter. We didn't prepare for it. Ilobu is my grandson. I want to have a common boundary between me and him. Please come and do boundary between us. Alaafin now directed Olufan Obaba Nkesa to get across to the district officer that was residing in Osogbo as at that time, that since the colonial masters has come and they have their district, they call them DO then that time. District officer then was Captain Ross. He is the one in position to do the boundary for you and your grandson, because by history that we met and that is in the archives of National Archive of Nigeria, Ilobu is a grandson of Olufan. That is, Ilobu is a grandson of Olufan. The land was granted to them, to Ilobu, by his grandfather, who happens to be Olufan. Olufan recalled back to Captain Rose to come and do the boundary for him. It was Captain Rose that now said the bridge of Elentiri River will be the boundary towards the old wall of Iyalode. There is a wall that we call Iyalode in Ilobu in those days. So that wall, as it's called, goes down to Osolo Farm, going towards Ilobu or Barut. So towards that part, crossing that part, going to Opamolu stream. That was how it was explained. Then by the confluence of the Opamolu river into the Erin river, by that confluence of the Opamolu stream that flows into Erin Owala river, that is what the Captain Ross made as a boundary between Ifon and Ilobu. In 1954, that was 30 years after 1954, the then Ilobu now rushed to court and said he did not understand the interpretations of Captain Ross' boundary. That was when the problem started.
The Ross Commission boundary you talked about, the history behind it is that sometimes in 1917, there arose dispute over a parcel of land along Okpakpa Road. Part of it is now Okekutu. When this boundary dispute rose and they could not settle this thing among themselves, they referred the matter to colonial master. And the colonial master came around to demarcate the boundary for the two communities. And that boundary is being referred to today as Ross boundary. But no survey was attached to the boundary to know the features that will be taken into recognition for the boundary between the two communities. In 1945, Obaba Nkesa Akinyoye I now employed a surveyor called Surveyor Gibbert to demarcate the boundary. But unfortunately, in the process of demarcating the boundary, Surveyor Gilbert went beyond the boundary that was demarcated by Captain W.A. Ross. This brought about another issue between the two communities. And the then Ilobu of Ilobu, Oba Sanusi Adebimpe Araoye, now refer the dispute to a customary court at Osogbo to settle the dispute for them. But Ifon also objected to the forum, insisting that the matter should be heard in a neutral place, and it was transferred to Ikirun native court. So at Ikirun native court, where Ilobu shown to the court to be the boundary, was upheld by the court. Again, they went back to High Court in the case between Oba J.O. Akinyoye versus Aminu Siyanbola in suit number HOY/20-1970. They now asked the court to demarcate the boundary in that particular case. So, but their case was dismissed, but because they were unable to prove that they are first settler, where they said the boundary is, Ilobu disputed it, and the court upheld the submission of Ilobu community, wherein the court held that Ilobu is the first to have been settled here on the authority of La Rose, who was the founder of Ilobu community and migrated from Oyole to this place.
Everyone is hoping.
Ẹ̀tún wa lọ kó bọn irú èyàn wo ni yín báyìí ná so bẹ̀ láti wá pé Gideon bọ́ta kúrò nílé o àwọn Ilobu yìí wọ́n ti dé o so gẹ́ndẹ̀ wọ́n hódì mi wọ́n hódì ẹni yìí wọ́n hódì òun náà wọ́n kó wa lọ síwájú mo rò wọ́n ti pè baálẹ̀ wọn gbogbo wọn ti assemble síwájú lé baálẹ̀ wọn tán pè ní àwíṣẹ́ tó lóbu fi jẹ baálẹ̀ síbẹ̀ wọ́n kó àwọn mẹ́rẹ̀ẹ̀rin dé wájú rẹ̀ so ibẹ̀ ni àwíṣẹ́ ti ń sọ wípé ẹ mú Akóredé àti Gideon yìí ẹ lọ pa wọ́n.
Adébẹ̀ àwọn bíi 6 àwọn náà di Lukman Akóredé ni wọ́n dì mú náà bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní sáládà ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ wọ́n yẹ gbogbo ara ẹ̀ wò wọ́n rí pé kò sí oògùn lára ẹ̀ kò sẹ́nìtìn lára ẹ̀ wọ́n kàn àwọn bíi 6 yẹn wọ́n kàn sọ sílẹ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀kan náà ẹni tí ó yìnbọn ti dúró ní iwájú ọkàn gbébọn fún ni bó ti ṣubú nìyẹn bó sáré sí báwọn yòókù náà bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe bò mí nìyẹn wọ́n ti kọ́kọ́ sá mi ládàá ojú àdá yẹn bẹ ní ìtàn mi bíbà àti ibi ẹ̀yìn bíbà wọ́n ti sá mi ládàá tẹ́ ti lù mí mọ́lẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ nìkan ti dé ní inú wọn nìyẹn ó bá ní Gideon ó dákọ̀ mo ní èmi ni ó ní bó wa Ọlọ́run àgbà bó wa la wá fi ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ mo ní ẹ dákun ẹ ṣáà ṣàánú mi náà ní ẹjọ́ mo fọlọ́run bá bẹ̀ ẹ dákun bó sáà ń bẹ̀ wọ́n bí mo ṣe ń bẹ̀ wọ́n ni mò ń sun ẹkún wọ́n bá lọ da wọ́n ní kò sí wàhálà ọ̀kan bá dà nínú wọn ó ní yóò sọ o wọ́n á sọ mílẹ̀ pé sí màá sọ mo ní mi ò ní sọ anything ó ní yóò sọ ó ní ẹ pa o.
ìgbà tóun tún padà dé onìkan náà mú padà dé pẹ̀lú báàgì Akóredé àti fóònù ẹ̀ wọ́n wá bí òun náà léèrè pé ẹ̀yin mélòó lẹ wá àwa 4 la wá ẹnìkẹrin yín kọ́ òun náà wá ní ó ti sá lọ.
n tó jẹ́ kí n sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé torí wọ́n ti búra fún mi tí n bá dẹ̀ tún sọ pé àwa 4 ni pẹ́ niyẹn ò sá lọ wọ́n ó padà pa àwa 3 tá kù wọ́n á padà pa wá ní ibẹ̀ a lè rìn bó ṣe yẹ o kò síbi nǹkan tí à ń lọ inú ilé náà là ń dúró sí torí àmọ́ ẹni tó ń sọ ni kọ́lọ́ dáhùn kó ṣàbòbò wa ni inú ilé là ń dúró sí ẹni tó ní tọ́rọ́ kọ́bọ̀ náà fún wa tí a fi ń jẹun a lè lọ síbi kankan.
tí wáyé tá a ti jọjọ́ ń bára wa bọ̀ so mo sì bímọ mo ti rí àwọn ọmọ tó dàgbà bẹ́ẹ̀ látijọ́ tí ọkọ wa ti kú báyìí kò sí olùbádámọ̀ràn so ẹ mọ̀ pé bí mo ṣe jẹ́ ìyáálé bùkátà mi ti ẹ̀fà pọ̀ gidi gan ó dẹ̀ ti fi mí débi pé kò sí ọjọ́ tí mo lè jí báyìí tí mi ní sunkún kò sí kódà tí mo bá ń kírun lọ́wọ́ bá tó mọ̀ sunkún tó rọ́ jẹ́ ìbànújẹ́ gidigidi fún mi torí tí ààrẹ sweeti nímọ̀ràn 20 years olódédé ṣẹlẹ̀ sí mi báyìí mo wá bí àwọn ìjọba mo ràn wá lọ́wọ́ àkọ́hún wà wọ̀sùn ní inú ilé wa àlè lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ àwọn ọmọ skul gan àwọn skul wọn ti fi bírèkì báyìí akàn wà pé kí kálukú ó fi ràn wá lọ́wọ́ ní báyìí mo kódà àti jẹ àti mu ó lágbára wàláhì tàlẹ́ ó ní agbára kò sí tó yẹ nìkan dákun olùrànlọ́wọ́ là ń béèrè wọ́n dákun kò rí bùkátà yìí pọ̀.
àti ilé padà sílé báyìí àtàwọn ọmọ kan ń wọ̀ káàkiri ni látàrí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ tó ṣẹlẹ̀ yẹn pẹ̀lú gbogbo mọ́ ṣe fún ọkọ mi ṣé irú àwọn tó ṣe irú aburú bẹ́ẹ̀.
To go and pick some of his clothes in his house. That was when he was attacked, overpowered, and not only killed, but his body was dismembered. They cut away his head, they took away his arms and legs. Lukman Akorede has children, has wife. And justice, peace can only be placed on justice. So government should please allow the criminal aspect of it to go the proper way. The civil aspect, we can overlook it. But the criminal aspect, the government should please.
So lẹ́yìn tó jáde pé ìgbà tí crisis dé làwọn Ilobu tó ra ilẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ fani bíbá yìí ni wọ́n jó ní nẹ́bà yẹn.
That was like in February, March.
February, March.
But kí ni reason tó fi jò?
Wọ́n claim ilẹ̀ náà ni pé ìgbà táwọn ti ra ilẹ̀ ní bíbá yìí ó ti di táwọn nìyẹn.
So gbogbo bíbá ìta ti ń rí ayédáadé Ilobu.
Yóò Ifon ló ní gbogbo ẹ̀ bá ń rọra fínni báwọn. Torí pé majority wọn ló ra lẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ fún lọ́wọ́ àfin ní bíbá yìí ní àwọn kọ Ilobu sí ìdí rẹ̀ báwọn ẹ bá wàrà lè wọ́n rí pẹ̀lú lára lè bá.
So ṣé àwọn ọmọ wọn wá sí school tẹ́lẹ̀?
Àwọn ọmọ wọn kan wá síbẹ̀ àwọn mẹ́rin wá àwọn ọmọ fún wá síbẹ̀.
So àwọn ti jó school yìí sí school wo láwọn lọ?
Ẹ̀rẹ̀ pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ lè padà sí gbòòrò.
So kò sẹ́ni ń lo school yìí mọ́ báyìí?
Ìjọba tó lò wọ́n pé wọ́n ti jóná kò sọ́mọdé abẹ́ kó síbẹ̀.
The question on everyone's mind